and we congratulate the 2024 Iowa Teacher of the Year, Ann Mincks.
I come from a family of teachers. So for a really long time, I was like, I'm not going to be a teacher, right? My grandma was a teacher. She's 98 years old. She just grew up with saying, like, get your education. No one can ever take that away from you. We played school all the time. She had 4 sisters that were also teachers. My mom was a teacher in my hometown. So when I was in high school, she was there teaching. My aunt was a teacher. So anyway, for a long time, I kind of was just like, I'm going to do something different, and eventually just came to the conclusion that education really just aligned to the values that I have and like what's important to me, and I decided to become a teacher. I actually graduated from Iowa State University. I did my student teaching in Des Moines Public Schools at Hoover High School with Nick Jackson and Sue Pilley, who Nick Jackson is still a PLC member with me. We still work next door to each other, so I get to see him all the time. Mrs. Pilley has long since retired. They were a great foundation for getting me into Des Moines Public Schools. Being an ELL teacher at Hoover High School, I think is so special because one of the reasons that I really wanted to come here is because it is one of the most diverse schools in the state. And so you just naturally kind of have that inclusive and welcoming environment where every day, right, like you're just working with students from all over the world and getting that kind of like international perspective all of the time in class. And I just love that. And I think that the students really thrive here. So it's great. The Iowa Teacher of the Year award has been really kind of like a new process to me. I actually received an email in May just saying I had been nominated. And I, for a moment, was like, oh, this is just one of those phishing scams. Like, don't click on the link. And then I was like, oh, this is a real nomination. Great. So I was super excited. Every day I'm working with wonderful teachers. And so I'm just so grateful that I've had the opportunity to learn from so many people. And I'm really excited to just be representative and a voice for education. Because that's really the most important part. Something that has kept me really invested in education is just to continue to evolve and to make sure that I'm really connecting back to who I am and like my values and what's important to me. So for example, like I just love learning, right? So something that really drives me is that every year I try to take new classes and really experiment with what those look like in class and how to make things better for students. But I know that's just one example of how education can stay kind of fresh when you're always growing and evolving. Another thing for me is just like having those moments to appreciate like beauty of life. When you're working with humans all day long, right, you get those really special moments both ways, right? Like it can be very stressful and it can be difficult, but it can also be like amazing and say like, wow, that's like the first time a student did this. They're growing so much. That was an amazing experience. I kind of say the final thing that kind of drives me to continue in education is just those small moments of gratitude. So oftentimes, you know, you'll have students come up and say thank you to you for something that maybe you don't even remember saying to them, or something that you thought was very small that made a big difference to them. Likewise, right, for students, like I can just be so amazed, like, wow, you've made so much progress, or that was such a funny moment that we shared. We had a great time in class today, you know. So I really appreciate those small moments to be thankful for.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2024 Iowa State Teacher of the Year, Ann Mincks.